as you know, connection is extremely important, especially nowadays during these times. It's been about a year since COVID quarantine happened and everything. And more than ever, and I think it's going to be like this even more and more in the future, more than ever, connecting online is going to be really important. And in general, connection is important. It's the most important thing for most people in life. It can make you feel like everything is wonderful and life is just amazing. You feel supported, living your ideal life. Or it could, if you have a bad relationship or no relationship and feel lonely, it can do the opposite. So today I am going to just walk you step by step through some of the basics of creating an online dating profile that attracts the right person. And I'm assuming that all of you want to find a life partner. So this is actually for finding a life partner. This is not how to create a dating app for other purposes today. No judgment on whatever reason you are online dating, but this is specifically for your you amazing people. And I know all of you, so I'm really excited that all of you are doing this with me. The very first thing to think about is, which dating apps do you want to use? 3 questions to ask yourself when choosing a dating app is, number 1, which apps will give me the best chance to meet as many the most potential matches as possible? So even though we're not looking for quantity in a partner, we are looking for quantity in a dating app that will connect you to have the biggest pool. Does that make sense? So you want the biggest pool. So that would be something like Match.com rather than something small like people who like smalldogs.com or something like that. So you can actually Google dating apps, and there are many, and in my book, I actually give a lot of suggestions on dating apps that have a big amount of number of people. So there are Match.com, OkCupid, right in the chat box if you know of ones that have a large amount of people. Then ask yourself, what part of my lifestyle would I like my partner to share with me? This is where the more specific apps come into play. So if you are very tall, or I don't even know if this exists, but almost anything exists. If you look at it, it is almost funny. Like almost anything exists when it comes to dating apps. If you have a disability, if you are loving cats, if you are vegan, if you have a certain religion, or if you are a traveler, there's all kinds of dating apps for that. So I really suggest that you look that up. You can Google that too. And then ask yourself, what am I willing to invest to find the love of my life? Time and money. So all of you right now, I'm going to mute you, Andrea. So all of you right now are investing time and effort, and that says a lot about you. That says that you are truly open. You're not saying you're open, you're not open. Sometimes you came on time. I mean, you came to this scheduled meeting, at 7:00 Eastern time, and you made sure that you were here. So you know what I mean when it says, what am I willing to invest in time and money? And the money part, it is, how much do you think it's worth to invest in $100, I don't know, app, or if you were going to invest $100 or $200 to meet the love of your life, it would be worth it, wouldn't it? It would be more than worth it. And I'm not selling you anything. I know that sounds like I'm about to sell you something, and I'm not. I'm actually doing this. Not sure if I am going to stay in this dating singles, helping people that are dating or singles, but it's fun to me. I love it right now. So I figured I'd do this training. But what are you really willing to invest? I've uh, heard people not willing to invest $30, but well, you know what? If you have if you find your life partner and they are a true partner and they are supportive of you and you're supportive of them and they're a positive person, and even you talk about finances and money, I mean, imagine how much more prosperous you're going to be in your life. They say that the number one influence of success in life is the partner that you choose. So taking the time and money to find the love of your life, I'm speaking to the choir right now, I know. It's worth it. Okay, so those are some basic things about choosing your dating app. So when it comes to choosing your dating app, if you're going to go just for the free things, remember that you're going to be matched with people that are only choosing the free things as well. And you think like attracts like, so you want to be willing to invest and attract other people that are also really valuing the kind of relationship you are wanting. All right, so let's move on to when you choose a profile, when you choose the apps, what are you going to put in it? This is where it gets fun or stressful, depending on how you look at it. Fun for me, fun for us today. So let's talk about your first profile picture. The very first profile picture that anyone sees is the most important. It is so super important. Think about it from your perspective. I mean, I bet you have been on a dating profile or heard of somebody who has, and you have, swiped left or swiped right. How many seconds do you think it takes to know if you want to swipe right or left on a person? Probably not even one, right? You look at that picture and you're like, oh yeah, or oh no. It's like an internal thing. And not that appearances are everything, because they're not, but there are some things that you notice in a picture that you're not even sure why. It might not be exactly what they look like, but it could be something in the background or some expression, and you just kind of know. So we're going to talk in depth about that, so you're actually attracting the right person, and you're aware of what you're putting out there. Okay, so the first profile picture should be a close-up of your face, your smiling, pleasant face. Choose a picture of yourself where you're feeling good, pleasant, friendly. Don't overthink it. Don't, I don't like to say negatives. In other words, I don't like to say don't, but I'm gonna say some just don't do certain things in this training, because there's some just basic things you just don't do, and then you'll be fine sometimes. Anyway, so a close-up of your face. So think of it as this. Think of it as if you were to meet somebody, if you were to go up on a blind date, let's say your friend introduced you to somebody and said, you've never met this person, but I really would love for you. I think you would be a good match. So why don't you guys go to dinner sometime? So you arrange and you go to dinner. You've never met this person. You go up to them. What do you do when you meet someone? You usually just smile and say hello, right? Nice to meet you. And that expression that you have when you say nice to meet you, think of that. Like, you want that in your first profile picture. You want a nice, pleasant expression. You do not want any aloof, no looking to the side, posing, no looking aloof or like you're trying to look cool or silly or strange. Don't try to be shocking. Don't try to be too funny. I mean, funny is great. Actually, it's awesome. But in this picture, in this one, the very first one, the reason I say no silly is because sometimes people feel awkward and uncomfortable with online dating because it really requires you to be really vulnerable. So instead of opening and being vulnerable, they'll put things that like silly because it helps them feel like laugh it off or not take it too seriously. But just be open. Just have a smiling face of yourself. Um, okay, this probably sounds funny, but don't post a picture unless you're in it. You won't know how many people post things for their picture and they're not in the picture. And I know some people do it because of privacy, but if you're going to do it, if you're really wanting to be online, attract the partner of your dreams, put a picture of your face in the first picture. Don't be nervous about people that you know from work or anywhere seeing it. You know what? If they're on the dating site seeing you, they're actually on it as well. So don't worry about that. If you're trying not to if you're trying not to be seen because you're in a relationship or something, then I'm not talking to you. You should not be on it. Okay. The next thing is make sure that all of your photos are current and make sure they really represent how you look, how you've looked in the past 3 months. So in other words, we it is good to put a very good picture of yourself up. You know, that is very, very important. But make sure it's very accurate. If you even have a year or two old, people can tell. I mean, obviously don't do 5 or 10 years, but even a couple years and you look different in person, especially if you've gained or lost or changed your hairstyle, gained weight or whatever, make sure it's very accurate. You don't want to start it out on a lie. If you consider yourself masculine and want to attract someone who's feminine, actually, in general, if you consider yourself masculine, it's a good idea to be very, I don't even know what the word is off the top of my head right now, but look at the camera straight on, have good posture, look confident and strong, not overly confident, not cocky, or not like you're compensating, because not narcissistic, but just be there, present. If you consider yourself feminine, think about curves, you know, whether it's in your neck, be soft, open, always be open. Think about think about the pictures that you're going to present in your profile as your chance to show your date what it might be like going on a first or second or third date with you. Does that make sense? Okay. So I talked about the first profile, how it should be your face. But after your very first profile picture, you usually have the option of doing of adding more pictures. So the first one should be your face, but after that, after you choose your main picture, select several more pictures for your profile. Uh, If possible, well, different apps let you choose different amounts of pictures, but put as many pictures as you can in there. And a good number to aim for is at least 5 to 10 pictures total. People have been burned before. They'll go on a date, people only have their face, and their people have been lied to before. So if you only have 1 or 2 or 3 pictures, they're gonna, even if you have nothing to hide, people are skeptical and it might prevent you from being reached out to. Unfortunately, that's just the way it is. After you chose, okay, so in the next pictures, after you chose your first one, in the next 2 to 10, for example, pictures, I'll give you some tips. Include pictures of you doing something that you're passionate about. There are many reasons for this, but the main reason is you're probably going to look really happy and engaged in it. You're going to be genuinely happy. And another reason is because if you're doing something that's a hobby of yours or that you love or that is interesting to you, it actually gives them something to initiate conversation about, or it gives you something to say, hey, this is what I enjoy doing. This is part of me. And it's fun. It's great to do that. Have at the very least, 2 pictures that include your entire body. This is very important. It's really important to just include your entire body. And and also in this process, love your entire body no matter what. You are all beautiful, amazing beings. And when you go on a date, you're going to go on a date in person. Your whole body's going to be there. I mean, we're hoping after COVID and after all this. So when you remember that the pictures you put on here are to give people an idea of what it'll be like going on a date with you. So include it too with your entire body. Would you be skeptical if you were looking at a profile with face pics and no pictures that included your body? Would you wonder? And then also some people put very blurry pictures. So make sure your pictures are not blurry. They're very clear. And think about it. Would you have questions if you saw a picture of 3 or 4 or 5 pictures of someone and they were all blurry? Wouldn't you wonder, what's going on there? I don't think I'm gonna even initiate a conversation with that person. Something's not right. The next thing is post at least one group shot. So post a picture of pictures of you by yourself are good, really good. It might be nice to post at least one of you with a group of people, whether that's your family or your friends. Include a tasteful picture or 2 or 3 or more of you with other people. This can be friends and family, but it's important and the reason for this is because it's important for the viewer to see that you interact with people and are somewhat social. It helps present yourself as, hey, this is what I like to go out with people and do this. And whether it's at a restaurant or at Christmas or outside, doesn't really matter, just doing something you love. Or even if you're not doing something you love, if it was a time when you were happy and and is a good picture of you that shows you well, post that. Okay, post the types of photos you would like to see. And I am very aware that some of these tips, some of you will be like, of course, I know that. And others might be like, oh, I didn't know that. So I know some will be helpful, some will be obvious, but I'm including everything. It's meant to be comprehensive. So, and I might possibly go over time a little, give you a little bit more. I'm just going to make sure I cover all of the material. Post at least one group shot. Oh yeah, I told you that. Post the types of photos that you would like to see. So when you're putting it out there, think, would I like to see a person doing that as well, that type of photo as well? Would you look your best on a first date, or would you just roll out of bed, stare at the camera in front of the bathroom mirror and do a selfie? So remember, it's like you're going on a date when you present yourself on a profile. Would you be alone, or would you bring your entourage of intoxicated friends with you on a first date? So in the group pictures, it's good to have 1 or 2, but don't make them all in the entourage, like with people around. And if you do, when you do the group pictures, make sure it's very clear who you are. And it's also good to ask your friends permission if it's okay to use a picture of them, especially if they live in the same town or if people they know could come across it online. Would you come to a date ready to really be yourself, or would you be wearing something outrageous and crazy and acting weird just to relieve your own anxiety and laugh? Think about that. Okay, here's some things do not do. Do not post pictures of you and people of the opposite sex that you're trying to attract. or whatever sex it is that you're trying to attract. Don't post pictures trying to show, look, I'm here with a hot guy or girl. Um, that's a turn off. And I know that there was a book written by someone a while ago now. It's pretty old, that game. So don't do it. It's a turn off. It's a turn off for anyone who knows better or is looking for something serious or has self-esteem. Don't include children in online dating profiles. I recommend this for their privacy and their safety, the children's safety and privacy. And also, uh, it's good to say that you have children, or maybe if you have the child and their face isn't shown or something, but just be aware of that with the children. It's good to say, hey, I love my grandchildren or my niece or nephew or child. This is my son or my daughter or my kids are the most important thing in the world to me. That's great to put in a profile, but you don't have to visually show them that. And no pictures. Okay, another do not do. No pictures of only your pet, your vehicle, your house, your hobby, your children, or a pretty scenery. Don't put any picture of just one thing that isn't you there. Some people do that because they have a hobby they really, really love, and that's part of their identity. And that's awesome. That's amazing that you have that. I think every single person on here just about has a hobby or things that they do a lot. But just make sure if you're doing it, like for example, if you're an artist or have a sound, one of those things that makes sound, you know what I'm talking about? Maybe put yourself with that in the picture or with your work of art in the picture, but have you holding it. That would be so much more fun and attractive. All right. What was the next thing? Oh, be very conscious about the background of your pictures. You can learn a lot about people's picture backgrounds. So look behind you. Every time you take a picture, look behind you. And every time you post the picture, think, what is in the background? Sometimes people have mirrors and share things that they didn't mean to share in the background of their picture. And also just make sure it's neat and tidy and looks good, you know? And then ask yourself, how was I feeling when this picture was taken? That is extremely important. And everything that we do from now on, start to be conscious of what is my emotional state and how am I thinking and feeling when doing this, when saying this, when putting this picture out, what does it look like in the picture? What you're wearing, doing, saying with your body language, clothing, and projecting in your picture. Picture is worth 1,000,000,000 words. So just be very, very, very aware of how you're feeling and what you're conveying with your body language, with everything in the pictures. With every picture that you post, ask yourself, what could a stranger conclude about me just from looking at this picture? Think about it. You conclude a lot about people from just looking at pictures. What can they conclude about you? Okay, so pictures, probably the most important thing, because that is what is whether we like it or not, that's what initially gets people to stay on the profile and to read the rest. But don't underestimate the rest. Don't skip one part for pictures. Don't skip any part, because just because you grab someone's attention with a picture, you're looking for your dream partner. They're going to care about what you write. And what you write is very important. Okay, so the next thing is choosing a screen name. This part doesn't have to be exceptionally creative, but it is important. A screen name is the little name that you give yourself online. Sometimes it depends on what app you choose. There's so many different apps. I think I mentioned a few earlier. I think I mentioned Match and OkCupid. I know there's plenty of Fish and eHarmony, Bumble, Tinder. There's all types of apps, and some apps are based on location, and like I think Hinge and Tinder are based on location. I know Tinder used to have a bad rap for being a hookup app, but it's not necessarily. You'll probably see when you go on Tinder that half the people write have the opportunity to write in their paragraph. They say not looking for a hookup. So people are using Tinder and Hinge, I think it is, and other things like that based on location because they're wanting to take action quickly, and that's a great type of app that helps you take action quickly and helps you connect with other people that are very close by and you can meet in person quickly because the whole point of it is to get off the app. So anyway, I got on a little tangent. Choosing a screen name. Okay, so the screen name is like sometimes they force you to say Daphne or whatever your name is. But other ones, you just choose it. So you choose any random words or letters or whatever. It's not that important what you choose, but it is important that you do choose it consciously. Some people put just a bunch of numbers and letters. What do you think when you see a bunch of numbers, letters? Aren't you thinking, oh, let's get to the real stuff. Let's get to something else that is like something to actually read. So make sure that you put some thought into it and make it fun or at least pleasant and avoid things that are too much of an inside joke. Just make sure that everything you put out there is going to attract. So you are attracting from what you put out. So if you're putting out some kind of sexual innuendo, you're going to attract probably people that for a hookup. But if you're looking for so for example, I know it sounds cheesy, but happy hiker would be really, really great or easy. That would be simple and you can use that, or I love the ocean or something like that. One way that you can do it is think of the five senses: sight, sound, smell, taste. Wait, what's the other one? I'm sorry. Touch. Okay. So pick an adjective from each of those categories that you like. Warm, sunshine, and just put them together. Something positive that you like, that you enjoy. Okay. I won't go too far into that. That's not as important as the rest, but it is important. So don't ignore that. Okay, this is the meat of it. Describing yourself online. The best recipe for a winning profile is to describe yourself well online. And the best way to describe yourself online is to actually know yourself. So I hate to say this, or maybe I don't hate to say this, but the better you know yourself and love yourself truly and can express yourself, the better profile you're going to have. So when people are having trouble writing a profile is not the easiest thing. And it would be easy to have someone write something for you with great adjectives and blah, blah, blah. But if you're really wanting to attract the right person, you will get a lot farther by knowing yourself, know thyself, and write your profile. And it takes internal work. I'm gonna go through that now, okay? All right. Being able to honestly describe yourself is the single most important step in this whole training to find and keep your partner for the rest of your life. Okay, so why don't we, okay, take a few minutes right now. Just close your eyes wherever you are. I'm recording this, but only I am going to be viewed. You're not able to be viewed. So you can relax, close your eyes, take a few deep breaths, and think. Answer these questions in your mind. When are you the most happy? What are some of your favorite moments in life? Who are you closest to? And or who has made the most impact on your life? Do you live with children or loved ones? Have you created a life you love where you do most things independently? Or do you do many things with people? What are your deepest hopes and dreams? How do you ideally envision your life in 10 years? What are some pivotal experiences of how life has shaped who you are? What is your occupation? What made you choose to serve the world in this way? What are some favorite things that you do in your free time? What are your favorite activities, hobbies, sports? What do you do when you hang out with your friends? Do you consider yourself an extrovert or an introvert? Would you rather spend a weekend sitting in front of the fireplace or jacuzzi in a mountain cabin or a beach cottage with your love? Or do you prefer a week or weekend in a nice hotel room while going to a festival or concerts during the day? Do you notice about these questions? There are no right or wrong answers. This is just exploring who you are, and you're going to want to share some of these things. Would you rather read a book or watch a movie? Do you like to wear the pants, quote unquote, in a relationship? Or do you want a partner who takes the lead or something in between? Is adventure your middle name or do you prefer to play it safe? What are you the most thankful for? What type of relationship do you feel the best in? How do you like relating to your potential partner? For example, I enjoy being in a partnership where we can be safe and vulnerable, sharing deep feelings. Or I enjoy protecting my loved ones. What have you, when have you been the happiest? What have been the funniest, most heartwarming and thrilling moments of your entire life? Who are you at your core? You can open your eyes now. There are no right or wrong answers to these questions you might have noticed. There's a perfect someone out there for you. The more you are willing to write about this, the more magnetic you will be to your ideal match. The better you are at expressing these things, the better you will be to be like a magnet to who you are trying to attract. Be brave. I know it takes bravery to put all these things out, but you want what you want, right? It's worth it. Okay, another thing to remember is although we are more than our accomplishments, occupations, hobbies, etc., it's still important to put those things down. So yeah, it's good to be descriptive. You can be descriptive in what do you call it? An intangible way, like there's a way that sometimes people describe themselves without you knowing anything about what their actual life is like. Make sure that you don't do that. You want to know who you are and answer all these questions, these not all of them, but questions like this that really get to who you are at your core. And who you are at your core is much more than your everyday life. And if you are going to be dating somebody, your everyday life is very important. What you've created in your life, what you do every single day, an hour is important if you're going to build a life with someone. So you don't have to write your whole profile about it, but let them know in your profile what you do for a living, what you do as hobbies, what you're passionate about, what you actually do during a day or a week. It's good to share those things. And remember, there are no right or wrong answers at all. The perfect person is out there. The perfect someone for you is out there. Okay. Okay. Avoid adjectives, meaning if you read a profile that said, I'm an honest, kind, intelligent person, would that really say a lot about someone? I mean, you can have a list of adjectives, but first of all, a lot of people do online. So it's gonna be very boring to just read through that. People are gonna keep on reading, on scrolling, if you just put a list of adjectives. Second of all, adjectives don't really describe you very well. That's where the questions I wrote up above, and these things come straight from my book. So if you're wanting to brush up on what I'm saying now, you can just get the book. And the book for women is coming out soon, women. The book for men is already out there. So anyway, so make sure you don't have just a list of adjectives like I'm happy, I'm nice, I'm whatever, because everyone can say that about themselves. Most everybody. So it's very easy to label yourself positive things, but to actually describe, hey, this is what my life is like, this is what my dreams are, this is my hopes, is different. I hope that makes sense. No negatives. So even though I'm doing it here, don't copy me by you saying the word don't. What is an example of this? So that brain doesn't process negatives. When you say, don't think of a pink elephant, what are you thinking of? A pink elephant. If you say negative things in your profile, such as, if you are a player, keep scrolling, or if you've had bad experiences with dating and you've had people not look like your profile or do this or do that that's negative, don't write in your profile, but don't blah 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 blah, because that's a turn off too, because that means that you're, instead of saying what you want, you're focused on the negative. You don't, even better than don't write it in profile, don't do it in your life. Just focus on what you want. Focus on what you want. And when you eliminate from your vocabulary and conversation what you don't want, the right things will start to come to you. Okay, and lastly, in that section, only write your profile when you're in a good mood. So when you are filling out, let's say you go to, an easy one is Hinge. Let's say you go to Hinge. They have easy thing. They make it very easy. I recommend being on many dating websites at once, because they're not all the same, and then you'll get a good feel of which ones you like best. But for example, Match is different than Hinge, but they're both good. So let's say you go on Hinge and you are kind of annoyed, but you promised yourself that you would spend half an hour creating your profile every day. That's a good commitment. That's actually a very good thing to do. It's like a job. It should be like a job. I mean, it's more important than your job, right? Your life partner. So let's say you're spending half an hour a day, and you go on at 7:30, and you're in a bad mood, or you feel bad, or you're in pain. or your blood sugar is off, or you're hungry, or you just had a bad day, you had a bad mood for whatever reason. If you're in a bad mood, do not write your profile. Wait. Just say, you know what? I'm going to spend this half an hour nurturing myself, getting myself in a better mood, and figuring out why I'm in a bad mood, and correcting that in my life. Because when you write a profile, when you are in a good mood, it's going to shine and attract goodness. And you can only imagine what it would do if you're in a bad mood. Even if you're trying to say, you're going to be frustrated because you can't get the right words because you're not in the right state, and then it's going to attract frustration. Now, just be in a good mood when you do it. Make sure you're in a great state. And when you start communicating with people, sending messages, and when you start calling people and asking them on dates or whatever, make sure you're in a good mood before you initiate. You don't want to be annoyed and then initiate. It's going to fail if you do that. So success starts with being in a great state inside of yourself. All right, we're going to do one more activity right now. Close your eyes again. Take a very deep breaths in and exhale. And take a deep breath in again. Exhale, and your exhales are extremely important. Release everything. We're going to describe your dream partner into existence right now. Keep on breathing deeply. And let yourself think and feel what it would be like to be in a relationship right now that you're so grateful for. Feel what your life is like 6 months from now, in the future. Fly into the future. Look at that. Look at yourself with your ideal partner, with your dream partner you finally met. You've been dating for a few months. What is that partner like? What kind of relationship do you have? What is that partnership like? What are they like? What are you like when you're with them? What about 1 year from now? 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50, 100? What is your ideal relationship like? Take some deep breaths and just enjoy that feeling of having that partnership. There's only right answers here. Everyone's vision is different. And just embrace yours and be grateful that you have that positive vision. What do you share together? Okay. So what you just had in your vision right now, make a mental bookmark of it right now. Make that little bookmark. Come back to that later. Many apps are going to ask you what you want in a partner. And even if they don't ask you, there's going to be a blank space where you describe yourself. Put that vision of your partner there. So there's going to be a place where you describe yourself. There's going to be a place where you describe what you want in a partner. Both are important. Do not make sure you address every single part of a profile. And this part is important. This assignment can be difficult for some people. And people tend to skip either describing themselves or describing what they want. Don't be like most people. You rise above the difficulty, even if it takes you months, half an hour a day thinking about it. Figure yourself out. Maybe you want to go to a therapist or talk to a friend about it, but really Know yourself and know what you want, and you'll get better and better and better at that. Always be on. Okay, so what are your requirements for a partner? For example, do you want to be able to trust that they have integrity? How exactly will you know that this is the case? For example, if they say, if you put, I want a partner who's honest, everyone says that. Don't say that. Think about, take a few minutes, think, what does that actually mean to me? Does honesty mean that if you say, does my, do I look fat in this dress? And you actually do, but they're going to say yes. Or, or does honesty really mean that when you ask them a question that is about on does honesty mean that, or does honesty mean that they could say, oh well honey, you always look beautiful, but maybe I like you better in that other dress. That's still, wouldn't that be a nicer type of honesty? And it's still not requiring, um I mean, don't you also require kindness? So think about it when you start labeling things, and actually think about what you really want. Also, take nothing personally. When people are interacting online and in person, there are there are there's going to be things where you're wondering, why did they do that? That seems rude. Remember, you're interpreting things from your perspective. They might have done something or dropped off the face of the earth or said something that you might have interpreted as rude or meaning a certain thing, but who knows? They might not have meant it that way. This has happened so many times with me being the person that was interpreted wrong and with me interpreting other people's actions as wrong. Um, I've been hurt when I shouldn't have, when I had no reason. I later found out really why, and it had nothing to do with me, and it was, and so whatever you do, take nothing personally. Easier said than done, I know, but try to have an open heart and realize, everything's going to be okay, and all you can do is be you, and and let go of needing things to be a certain way, and just kind of have faith. Always be honest in your profile. And what I mean by this is, if you want, for example, if you want to have children, don't say, oh, I don't know if I want to have children. Say, if you really know you want to have children, say it. It'll save you years of stuff later. If you know you don't want to have children, for sure, say that up front too. Um, it's okay if you don't want to bring up meaningful subjects until you meet in person, but realize that you might be wasting a lot of energy and time. And um, whatever you do, don't make implications in your profile that you don't care about something. So if you don't want to talk about it until later, okay, don't imply something about it and then later correct it. Never lie about your age. Never lie about your marital status. All those basics that they require you to put in an app, never lie about that. Always be completely 100% honest. You will attract what you put out there. And I know there's a lot of lying going on around age, especially, but don't do it. It's not worth it. You'll attract the right person. Okay, you know yourself better than anyone else, and saying what you mean and never acting like you don't care about something will bring you closer to what you desire. Let's see. Oh, yes. Your audience is your dream partner. You're not trying to attract 100 people or get 10 messages. You know what? If you attract that one person with that one message after actually really being real about who you are online, that's really special and that's really important. So remember, if you have to fail 100, 1,000 times to find that one person, you're not trying to get 1,000 dates, are you? No, you're trying. If you got that one date with that one person that's meant for you, wouldn't that be wonderful? So keep that in mind. Something I should say is that it isn't easy, this online dating thing. It might, I mean, it can be. I don't want to say it has to be hard. You can just have this attitude and just go with the flow, and it can be easy. And I hope you'll choose it to be that way. But there's a lot of internal learning that goes through this whole process. So just remember what your goal is, and that it can be kind of like a part-time job, and just keep your spirits up. Okay. Okay, one thing to remember is realize that when you look online, you're looking at a profile, not a person. Remember that although you can be very honest, sometimes other people online are not honest. That's just a given. We can't control who they are. So take everything with a grain of salt. If you see the perfect person online, everything in their profile is perfect, they've thought it out, you guys are learning how to really dig deep and really put who you are out in the profile. Just because someone else is good at writing a profile doesn't mean they're actually an honest person. I hate to say this, but it's the truth. So make sure, so don't fall in, so the purpose of me saying that is don't fall in love with a profile. Just because there's a great profile, great pictures, looks like they have the same dreams and goals and a good person, blah, blah, blah. Great, meet them in person, get to actually know them, go on many dates with them before you let yourself fall in love with the idea of who they are. You don't know who they really are. So okay, let me just tell you really quick. The reason I wrote this book is because of all of my experiences online, I realized that some men are very, very good at presenting themselves online. They look like the perfect guy. They might even seem like the perfect guy the first few dates, but they're not. And they can be players and manipulate and be very, I have been date raped. I was date raped once by one of these guys. I mean, you have to be very careful and take very good precautions of safety. Always meet in a public place. And just take everything that you read online with a grain of salt. It is, you do want to be open for the right person, but don't fall in love with the idea of a person before you get to know them. That's all I'm saying. Don't be a victim. Do not want you to have to go through things that I have gone through. So be careful. Okay, so secret essentials for success. Only say things that are true. I've said that before. Complete your entire profile. Don't leave any part of your profile blank and then wonder, oh, why am I not meeting anyone? Because how can you expect to meet someone when you haven't even taken it seriously and finished your profile? Don't choose the lazy route. It might take some effort, but do not skip any section asked of you by a profile. Proofread your profile for grammar, slang, and overall feel. You will attract what you give out. Ask a friend to read it over for you. There might be some kind of, who knows, online app of grammar and stuff. Make sure that it looks good. Just like if you were going to submit something to work, a cover letter, this is important too. And like I said before, if you are really ready to create a treasure of a relationship with your one in a million person, with your person, your one in a million, it won't matter to you how many weird or crazy profiles you have to sift through to finally find the treasure of a soul that you're meant to spend the rest of your life with. It won't matter how many times you're going to have to send a message to find that one person. Go for your goal and expect to succeed. Okay, for the men and for anyone who um, would like to send messages, I guess I'll say really briefly, you can send messages or receive messages. I personally, I am in a relationship. I like to be with a man who is an initiator, who in a relationship will take initiative a lot. And if I'm always the one asking them, hey, do you want to do this weekend? Or always the one reaching out, that for me personally, I don't want that. I want, that's not my personality, you know, but for some women it is. And for many men that I've met, they want to be kind of like the leader, they enjoy asking a woman on a date. But you know what? Those are traditional gender roles. It doesn't have to be like that. And actually, for the most part nowadays, there is both men and women send messages. So, and I've sent messages plenty of times too. But anyway, so choose what you want. There's no right or wrong. You do what you do you. But realize that if you are the one always sending, you're already creating, and you're a woman, you're already creating that dynamic. And if you're a man and you're not reaching out at all and you're just being the recipient, that might be the type of relationship you're going to attract later, and you might or might not like it. If think about the type of relationship you want and mirror that in your interactions. So send messages. If you're going to send a message, send messages with interesting questions, and reply to people's messages with answers that capture their heart. It's all about emotion. It's not about facts. This is not a job interview. It's about connecting. Don't let laziness or fear lead you to send them generic questions or respond to their questions with simple yes or no generic answers that anyone could say. This is your chance to really connect. This is the chance for the juicy part and the part we all want and crave and love. Think of this whole entire process as a challenge. Your entire goal is to find the one man or woman who you are meant to be with. Quality is all that matters in this process, not quantity. I've said that before. So I think you get the message. All right, now with the flirting and connecting. So to start with a fun and flirty conversation, we don't have much time, so I'll try to summarize fairly quickly here about initiating and everything. Let's see. So the next step after you've created your profile is contact. This is what we all are doing this for. So don't get too sidetracked by shiny object syndrome. This is something that happens a lot online. People get online. There's so many apps. When you first join, by the way, you're going to be viewed more. So that's when you have the chance to meet the most people. And almost everyone gets sidetracked by shiny object syndrome. Oh, this looks like an amazing person. Oh, but look at this person here. Then your attention is just spread out over so many people. So stay focused on profiles that really met, your requirements and that you were attracted to. Stay focused on them, and stay focused on the profiles you know will give you a lasting connection with someone who holds the same ideals as you. There's a lot of temptation to just towards what's attractive or what's easy, but but don't give up with what your actual purpose is. Stay focused on that. If you change your goal during this process and you think, hey, you know what? I just want to have fun. I just want to have fun. I don't know if I want, man, look at all these opportunities. I didn't know I was going to have all these opportunities. I'm just going to have fun. Then if you want to just have fun, no judgment, fine, do it. But change your profile so that you're not lying about it. If you're saying, I'm looking for the person, my life partner, I would like to, I don't know if you want to say that you want to get married, but you're looking for your life partner or whatever. Don't let your actions be the same as what you say. Let your words really mean something. So if you decide you just wanted to play around, then put that in your profile. And if you decide that you just want a life partner, then do that in your actions, in your interactions. So how to initiate. When you have identified someone whose profile is what you're looking for, don't wait until the other person says something, especially what like we just talked about, if you like, anyway, this is not a game. It's not a power play. The entire platforms of online dating is an opportunity for you to meet the love of your life. So here's some tips to keep in mind when initiating a conversation. Only send them a message when you're in a good emotional state. Talked about that. What your first messages to each other are, what it says in your message is not as important as long as your heart is open and honest. You don't have to think of something super exciting to say, really. I mean, I've responded to, hi, how was your day? Or hi, I like your profile. Straightforward. The initial message, however, should be a complete sentence. So make sure it's a complete sentence, but don't write more than a paragraph. I've had people write many, many paragraphs about things they've gone through in their life or their life story. And first of all, sometimes that comes across as, did that person cut and paste and sends that to everybody? And then also, they don't know if I'm interested, and they're doing all this. It's too much. Don't write more than one paragraph without seeing anyone, without having them start a conversation with you or having ever had a message from them. Make sure that they're interested first before you start saying a lot. So I would say 1 to 3 sentences is great for a first message. And it can be really simple. First of all, don't copy and paste. Never copy and paste and send to everyone. They know it. Even if it seems personal, it's done so often that we get used to it. We can smell it a mile away. So some options to start and also don't write hi or hey or beautiful or fascinating or interesting. I mean, it's not horrible if someone says beautiful or whatever, but I personally don't respond to that because it's not really it's not interacting with a person. The purpose of a message is to connect. And if you write a comment on how you perceive something, that's like going to a zoo and saying, oh, look at their stripes, or interesting, or whatever. So make sure you connect, ask a question, or share something of yourself. So here are some ways you can interact in your first message to them. You can ask a question based on something in their profile that made you curious. You could ask what they're doing in a picture. You can ask where they are, or if there's something in their profile that they said that you like, you can just say, I like how you said that you value this, or that you travel, or this, or something like that. Compliment them if you like. Compliment them on something that you liked about their profile, or ask an intriguing picture. Ask a question about a picture that you found intriguing. I like this the best because when you ask a question, it helps them know how to respond. So they know, oh, I answered that question rather than I liked your profile. Then it's like, thanks. Then it makes them kind of have to come up with the next thing. So make it easy for them. Ask a question. Uh, be straightforward. Again, there's nothing wrong with simply stating that you like their profile and would like to get to know them better personally. When you do this, it's a good idea to have something called a call to action. So, like I said, what do you want? What do you want? Ask a question from them. And then lastly, take nothing personally. The first few messages should be warm, clear, respectful, funny if you like, and if you have that talent of being funny, and lighthearted. And the goal should be to ask some response of some sort. Again, only send messages and only call people when you're feeling happy and loving and in a good emotional state. When you receive a message, this is very important. Make sure you don't let the ball drop in your court by only saying thank you or answering the question, then that's it. Or commenting on what they said. For example, if they say, I love that picture of you in front of the pyramid. What country was that? And you answer saying, thanks, that was in Tulum, Mexico. That's it. You've not kept the conversation going. You've let the ball drop in your court. If you go on to say, do you love travel? Or is that your dog in your picture? Or have you ever been to that area of the world? Then it keeps the conversation flowing. So think of this as real life too. If you were in a date, if you were on a date, and they said, hey, I love that picture of you. Where was it? And you just said, thanks, that was Tulum, Mexico. Wouldn't that be kind of odd or awkward? Wouldn't you bounce the ball back in a conversation and say, oh, thanks. Well, do you like travel? So make sure you keep things rolling, and you ask questions back when you're sending messages to each other. Welcome, whoever just joined us. I'm recording right now, but after I'm finished, which will be very soon, I will open it up for questions and take the recording off so everyone can have a little bit of privacy. Okay, so let's see. Make sure you give them the chance to shine. All right, so lastly, moving the connection to real life, the beginnings of a lasting relationship. So once you have communicated for a little bit with somebody, listen to your heart. How do you feel when you're sending and receiving messages to this person? Do you feel happy, peaceful, confident, caring? Are you interested, energized? Do you feel valued, respected, treasured? How do you feel? How does the core of your being feel when interacting with this person? Do you like how you feel? Or is it not so much? Are you feeling insecure? Like, oh, I hope they like me. Or, oh, was that a compliment? Or was that, oh, I can't tell if they like me. Or I feel uneasy for some reason. I don't know why. Pay attention to these things. You want to feel good in a relationship long term, right? So choose someone who you feel good with. Red flags. Of course, if you're ever the recipient of aggression, disrespect, of course, abuse, even verbal abuse can happen even in messages. So if any red flag happens to you, Be aware of it, respect yourself enough to not reply. And I've found that it's better not to reply to what you don't like. So if someone is aggressive to you or disrespectful, you've never met this person before. Don't even bother with putting your energy towards responding. Block them, move on. That's it. All right, take action. Do you have internal rules or preferences about who will take initiative and how the exchanges will happen? We've talked about this a little bit already. If so, it might be helpful to write this in your profile. I've actually found that writing that what I prefer regarding this helps in the profile. I actually prefer to have the man initiate things in a relationship. So don't be afraid to ask for their number or offer your number. Take nothing personally again. I've said that many times, haven't I? And during the date, make sure you go to a public place like a restaurant or coffee shop or park, someplace where you are safe. Tell someone where you're going. Be present. Be present. Be emotionally present. Don't be thinking about the future. Don't be thinking about the past. Don't be thinking about what you're wearing. After you dress and you go to the date, look into their eyes. Be emotionally present with them. Have fun. Let go. Relax. Don't try to control the interaction. Don't be thinking about an internal checklist while you're with them. Just have fun. This is the time to connect heart to heart. Concentrate on being your true self. Be you, be vulnerable. If they reject you, so be it. You still have yourself and you can still move on to someone who will really value you. So concentrate on being your true self and recognizing if it's a good fit in any way. Are you attracted to them? Are you? Do they seem attracted to you? This could take a few meetings to really know if you're attracted to them or if they're attracted to you, if there's a lot of anxiety, or you might know immediately. And then getting off the dating app and communicating through text or phone is best to do as soon as possible. So, ask them or give them your phone number or ask them for the phone number as soon as possible. And you can still connect through text, but at least you're not on the app anymore. And you're looking for a real relationship. So that is the best way to go. And once you are off the app on the first date, this is where the real work begins. This is just the first date, but you've done a lot by meeting someone online. But do keep in mind, this is where it actually begins. This is where the work begins. Relationships, just because you met somebody doesn't mean anything except for that you met them. And that's where you learn how to love unconditionally, how to grow together, how to connect together. This is where you start to become, instead of studying how to meet someone online, then you can shift it and become an expert in relationships. Really start to study how do people have really good relationships that last for the rest of your life. This is where it becomes good and amazing. This is where the journey begins, the love journey begins. And the ways to grow your relationship is massive. I mean, you've probably heard of relationship gurus. I have a few favorites. I think some of them are, you've heard of David Deida, Deida. He's one of my favorites to learn from. Also, the Gottmans. There's a couple. Their last name is both Gottman. They're both psychologists. They live, I think, in Seattle or in Washington State. and they have studied marriages and relationships for decades. They are so amazing. And they've written many books. I think one of them is Habits of Making Marriages Work or something like that. They're amazing. Look at articles, stuff about them. I'm sure you have your favorites too, but just start to learn about relationships, learn about yourself and how your attachment styles, all kinds of things to learn about relationships. And focus on being your personal best. So, another thing I didn't mention yet is that when we did our ideal relationship visualization exercise a few minutes ago, one thing I did not do is that I did not mention, if you want this ideal person, as you envision them, also I meant to add, envision also what they would want in an ideal partner. I imagine who your ideal partner, what their partner would be like, and then be it. Be that ideal partner yourself. Work on yourself. Are you at your ideal physical health, emotional health? Do you love yourself, or are you grasping and looking for someone to love you? You need to be able to, I don't want to say need, but love yourself first. If you are reaching for someone to love you and don't feel good enough inside, guess what you're going to attract? You're going to attract someone else that doesn't feel good inside, and they might be abusive, or they might be needy and needing something from you, but not able to actually love you because you're not able to actually love them. So make sure that you are actually working on yourself. And you can even say in your profile, you want to grow together with someone. You can say what you want to be working on to improve yourself, and have an open heart. Forgive yourself for not being perfect. Nobody's perfect. Love yourself unconditionally, flaws and all. And it's worth the investment to learn how to create and maintain a loving, healthy, happy, sexy, abundant relationship with the love of your life for the rest of your life. And one thing that I keep mentioning here this whole time, and thank you for sticking with me for this long training. It's been, I think, an hour and 15 minutes or more. One thing that I have mentioned over and over and over is that make sure you are in a good state, emotional, internal, mental, emotional, spiritual, physical state. Remember, be in a good state when you reach out to someone. So if you are in a good state when you are creating your profile, you're feeling good about yourself. You're able to express who you are. And you're in a good state when you're reaching out to someone. You don't need them to respond to you, but you have playfulness, you have kindness, and you are reaching out because you like that person. And so be it, whatever they decide, whether to reach out back or not. If you are good inside of yourself, no matter what, you are going to be unstoppable, not only with relationships, but with other things in life. And it's going to feel so good. And you're going to get more and more of what you want. So you want to be in a good state when you reach out to someone, when you respond to someone, when you go on a date. Before you go on a date, you want to be in a good state. And you know what? When you start to see each other every day and maybe get engaged, maybe get married, if you have a life partner, you're probably going to see them every day. Guess what? You want to be in a good state every day. And not only for them, but for you. You're going to learn, I want to be in a good state for me every day. So I am going to do some more trainings on how to put yourself in a good state, how to take care of yourself. It's actually going to be called Soul Spa. And I am going to walk you through step by step, kind of like taking your whole being, your whole mind, body, spirit, even physical body to the spa, and you're going to learn how to take care of yourself internally so you can be in that good state most of your life. And if you're not, you're going to learn how to snap back into it much quicker, much more easily. And I'm going to put together a series on that. So keep your eyes open for that. And also, I wanted to tell you guys, I am going to Costa Rica very soon. And I know this is kind of last minute, but I want to invite you to come to Costa Rica with me next month. It's just next month. It's just going to be for a 2-day, actually it's going to start on the 12th, May 12th in the evening. We're going to have a little welcome party. And then all day on Thursday and Friday, we're going to have the soul spa and we're going to rejuvenate ourselves. It's just going to take 2 days. And then you can schedule time before or after to hang out on the beach in Costa Rica or do other things in Costa Rica. But it's a really good place to go right now. And we're going to follow protocols to make sure we're safe and healthy. And so I just thought I'd throw that out to you if you want to join. It's just going to be a very small one for an intimate group of people. And that will be super fun. And I'm really looking forward to it. So just send me a message. Anyway, you know how to get a hold of me. Facebook message, personal message. I think I know I have personal messages with both ways to contact all of you. So that is all for today. Thank you for investing in yourself, taking this hour, 20, 25 minutes or whatever it was to invest in yourself to learn how to get what you want. Thank you. And I'm going to stop recording right now to open it up to everyone that took the time to be here in person for questions.